Pete Hegseth targets Senator Kelly. Welcome to Law and Society. We're briefly going to talk about this attack on Senator Kelly because he was one of 6 veterans who came out with a public service announcement reminding military service members that they are bound by law to follow lawful orders and not to follow illegal orders. Right after that, Donald Trump called for the execution, arrest, and hanging of these 6 brave veterans and members of Congress for speaking the truth and for speaking what is the duty of service members, which is to follow the law. And right after that, Department of Defense, Pete Hegseth, followed suit by starting an investigation on Senator Kelly because for various reasons, the other 5 who were also part of that video no longer fall or did not fall under the jurisdiction of the Department of Defense. And so the only person being targeted is Senator Kelly because he's the only one over whom the Department of Defense has jurisdiction. Here's what Senator Kelly has to say about this. I said something that was pretty simple and non-controversial, and that was that members of the military should follow the law, and in response to that, Trump said that I should be executed, I should be hanged. It says a lot more about him than it says about me. I'm not going to be silenced. My wife, Gabby Giffords, meeting with her constituents, shot in the head. 6 people were killed around her, a horrific thing. She spent 6 months in the hospital. We know what political violence is, and we know what causes it too. The statements that Donald Trump made incites others. Make no mistake about it that these people, including all of the other 5 who were part of that public service announcement, have received death threats and continue to receive death threats and threatening phone calls and other correspondences after their public service announcement and after their attack by Donald Trump. Not before that. Donald Trump is the one who started the attacks because he incited others. Remember that Senator Kelly and others who issued the PSA reminded the military that they are bound by law to not follow illegal orders. It is telling that the Department of Defense now says that orders are presumed legal. How can orders be presumed legal, or why should they be presumed legal if military lawyers determine that they are not legal? Remember that the military and service members who are carrying out orders from their superiors are subject to the Code of Military Justice and subject to laws that govern society and are subject to the Constitution. And they do not have immunity like the president has. So if they carry out illegal orders, they can and most likely will be held legally liable for their illegal actions. And that liability, even the president cannot take away. Maybe what he can do is if they are held liable during his regime, he can pardon them, but they're not going to be held to account under this regime. It's going to happen after this regime leaves in 2029, on January 20th, 2029. It will fall on the next administration to see what illegal actions were taken by the military, and it will hold those people in the military accountable. But Donald Trump, presidents and former presidents, have this presumptive immunity that the Supreme Court pulled out of thin air, which will shield Donald Trump from liability for issuing illegal orders, which he can wrap himself around in calling official duties and even core official duties of the commander-in-chief, even though what he's doing with the military now is borderline illegal, if not completely illegal, with the attacks on the Caribbean, with the attacks on what he calls the drug boats, but without any evidence, without any arrests, without any prosecutions. He has turned our military into the judge, jury, and executioner in the Caribbean seas. With that said, keep your eye out for what's happening and stand up with Senator Kelly and the other 5 veteran service members, as well as members of Congress, as well as the active military, and say, no, you do not follow illegal orders. In our country, we are punished if we violate the law. And nobody is above the law, despite the fact that Donald Trump slipped through justice's hands the first time. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.